Hello, so today we're going to talk about the nemesis of beginner guitarists, which is chord changes. Sometimes we're playing chords and we're playing songs and our strumming is good and most of our chords are good, and then we get to that nightmare chord. It could be a G, could be a B minor bar chord, or worst of all, an F bar chord. Okay, those ones, especially if you've got an acoustic guitar, those ones can be really tricky. Let's today talk just a little bit about just general chord practice, okay? So say we've got a song and it's got 3 chords. Let's use G, C, D, which if you're so inclined is La Bamba, all right? But don't play it. All right, so what we've got is we've got the chords G, C, and D. Now we might be learning that song or any song and really struggling with our chord changes. Let's imagine that there's a G for 4 bars, a C for 4 bars, and a D for 4 bars. So we're kind of going 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, etc. Okay. Now, often we play that and our strumming gets good because we're strumming all the time. But our chord changes actually only happen very sporadically, or they happen every 4 bars. So one thing that we can do is we can isolate our practice. A bit like in the other video about strumming patterns, we just worked on our right hand. In this case, we could do a very simple thing to speed up our changes. And we're going to play, for example, we go G, 1 strum. C, 1 strum, and D. And we just practice that. Maybe we try and do that 10 times. So we go G, C, D, G, C, D, and try and create a loop. Now imagine that if you're looking at this video, you might not be able to change chords that quickly. That's absolutely fine. Do it the best you can. Try and make sure you don't cheat by going, that was nearly a C, okay? If it sounds rubbish, stop, have a listen, and decide which notes aren't coming out. Maybe your first finger on a C chord is lying over the high E string. Okay, and you have to rotate your hand round. Maybe your middle finger isn't pushing hard enough. Or maybe you're hitting the low E string, which is a horrible sound. So don't do that either. So basically just take your time, but do 1 strum on each chord and be honest with yourself and don't go, oh, well, that was close enough. You want to try and get nice chords, all right? So do your best and try and get a clean one. One thing I say to my pupils is play the chord, and if it didn't sound great, then put the chord back on and play 1 string at a time. And try and find which one is not sounding good and why, okay? And one of the things is often that we might be too far away from the fret, and if we move our hands just a little bit, oh yeah, and this is also a thing, I see a lot of people doing this, trying moving the hand with their right hand. That's no good because we want to gain muscle control with our left hand. This doesn't really help, okay? So just take your time, practice, strength will come eventually. This is not something that will happen overnight. You won't just be able to do magic chords, right? Everyone has to sit and practice. The second way we can look at chords, say there's a particularly tricky chord. Say we're really struggling with G, all right? So say we can do G, C, D, and C and D are really easy, but G is a nightmare. What we can do is we can isolate that practice, and I like to do a very simple thing with my pupils. You play a G chord, you take your fingers off and wiggle them, and you do a G chord again. But before you do that, you play the G chord, and then you stare at it, and you engrave that shape into your soul, all right? What does it look like to you? To me, it looks like a strange triangle, but I really think about the G string being that these 2 notes on the opposite sides of the neck, and then that first finger just behind it, okay? So I think of it as those two notes and then that. With the C, I think of it as a kind of diagonal line, and the D I think of as a triangle. But it's really up to you. Just look at it, try and memorize the shape, and then play it. Take your fingers off, wiggle them, play it, and try and do that like 10 times. Every time you pick up the guitar, do that 10 times. Or anytime you practice this song, do that 10 times. And what you're doing there is you're isolating your chord changes rather than just doing it once and then strumming your right hand for 4 bars. Okay, so that's kind of a nice way of getting to grips with a particular tricky chord or a particular tricky chord sequence. All right, I hope that helps.